Why study the history and philosophy of yoga? Well, firstly, to add depth and nuance to our understanding of yogic traditions. It's really easy to hear things through the grapevine in a class, but we don't really know the truth of yoga unless we've actually done the work and explored it. And the truth is, there is no one truth of yoga. Yoga history paints a picture of a very complex, diverse, and large set of traditions, multifaceted and evolving. And when we study the philosophy and history of yoga, we can begin to understand how yoga has evolved, how ideas and practices have developed over time, and different traditions and ideas as well, because it's not one uniform picture. There's actually different systems, and unless we do the work, we don't really know that's the case at all. Secondly, to find empowerment in your own practice and spiritual journey, and if you're a yoga teacher, to find empowerment in your teaching as well. When we do the work and explore the history and philosophy of yoga, we can begin to discover what resonates for us and what doesn't. We can also feel more empowered in a grounding of the traditions, a grounding of the evolution of the traditions, so that we can show up more authentically in our own practice, lives, and teaching, not just taking everything for granted, but feeling grounded, having done the explorations ourselves. And also knowing that these explorations are ongoing, they're never complete. It's an ongoing inquiry. Thirdly, learning as a spiritual practice and joy in its own right. We find the idea that learning and knowledge is a spiritual practice and goal in many traditions, including yoga, but also in Christianity and many other traditions as well. And our physical yoga practice, our yoga asana, may teach us that knowledge through our body is a spiritual practice, but actually the mind is the other side of the coin. As embodied practitioners, we can often acknowledge that the mind gets in the way and criticize the mind, and it is true, we live in quite an intellectual society, but actually theory and practice are two sides of the same coin. And when we inquire more deeply through our minds, our practices can become deeper as well. You know, we learn where things have come from, how they've developed, and also new things that might inspire us. We can have a deeper connection to the practice and also just find more joy in the whole process of learning. Fourth, fun exploration in community where philosophy is a way of life. So in the past, and I've talked about this before on various channels, philosophy was a way of life. It wasn't just something in the mind. As I just said, theory and practice go hand in hand, and philosophy as inquiry helps us deepen into the practice through mind, through body, as we pursue values, goods, goals. And traditionally, this was pursued in community as well. It wasn't just a solo endeavor as is often imagined today. I mean, even yogis meditating in caves like this one would be part of broader communities, teachers, disciples, other students, ongoing tradition, you know. It's not just a random person pursuing their spiritual goals in an isolated manner as we often imagine today, but it's this ongoing tradition of teachings, of teachers. And so when we explore in community, we can kind of bring this back, a sense of we are part of an ongoing tradition of seekers, not doing this alone, but doing this with others as we pursue a common goal. And finally, 5, deepening on the journey. Deepening on our journey requires the integration of body and mind. We sometimes go too far in the direction of the mind or too far in the direction of the body and forget about the mind. But true integration, true balance needs both. And inquiring into the philosophy and history of yoga can help us deepen in this journey. It might invite us to explore new avenues such as the medieval tantric yoga or mantras or Kriya Yoga, the yoga of action, or certain philosophical ideas. So exploring yoga history and philosophy is part of that journey of deepening of inquiry. So if any of this sounds of interest to you, I'm running a 12-week course on the history and philosophy of yoga starting on June the 17th, and I would love to see you there. Comment below.